The episode kicks off with Hacker and Sir Humphrey embarking on a trip to the Middle Eastern country of Qumran. Ostensibly, they're there to finalize a massive export contract. Hacker, ever conscious of public spending, questions the surprisingly large delegation of civil servants accompanying them, while Humphrey smoothly explains their necessity for securing the deal. Their chat ranges from the mundane details of a future communique to the surprisingly dry nature of Qumran. Things get interesting at a reception. Mrs. Hacker is captivated by a beautiful rosewater jar, only for Bernard to gently inform her it's a government gift and must be declared, dashing her hopes of taking it home. Meanwhile, Hacker gets a hushed call via the Scottish office and learns that the lucrative Qumran contract may have been secured through something that sounds suspiciously like bribery. Back in his office, armed with damning newspaper clippings reporting the potential bribery, Hacker confronts Sir Humphrey and Bernard. Sir Humphrey, the undisputed master of obfuscation, immediately begins to downplay the severity. He refuses to use the word bribery, instead resorting to a string of euphemisms like creative negotiation, uncontracted prepayments, and political contributions. Hacker is appalled, struggling to reconcile this alleged corruption with the public announcement he made about a major British success. Hacker clashes with Sir Humphrey over the ethics. He insists that governing has a moral dimension. However, Sir Humphrey quickly brings up the powerful counter-argument: the thousands of British jobs dependent on the contract. Just as Hacker is wrestling with this ethical tightrope, a completely separate and frankly ridiculous complication arises involving the rosewater vase. Mrs. Hacker, back at home, innocently speaks to a journalist from The Guardian, Jenny Goodwin. She mentions the Qumran vase that's now sitting in their flat. Crucially, she incorrectly tells the journalist it's a cheap copy, worth only about £50. When Mrs. Goodwin casually mentions she might check its value with the Qumrani embassy, Bernard, who is present, realizes the potential for disaster. The news of Mrs. Hacker's conversation reaches Sir Humphrey and Hacker. The situation rapidly escalates when the Guardian does indeed contact the Qumrani embassy, revealing Mrs. Hacker's assertion that their expensive gift is a copy. Reporters, including Jenny Goodwin, demand to speak to Hacker. Initially, Hacker, perhaps swayed by his earlier thoughts on the moral dimension and the awkwardness of keeping the vase, declares he will be completely transparent about everything. Sir Humphrey, naturally, is horrified and strongly advises against this suicidal course of action, highlighting the immense contract value and the fallout from revealing both the bribery and the vase scandal. Faced with potentially losing the massive contract and the deep embarrassment of the diplomatic vase incident, Hacker has a sudden change of heart. He decides that attack is the best form of defense. When Jenny Goodwin arrives for the interview, Hacker puts on a masterclass in political deflection, presumably planned with Sir Humphrey and Bernard. He boldly dismisses the bribery allegations as groundless media smears, claiming a thorough and entirely fictional internal inquiry found no evidence of wrongdoing, redefining the payments with more of Sir Humphrey's fancy euphemisms like commissions and miscellaneous outgoings. For the vase, he concocts an elaborate and frankly ridiculous cover story. Burglars broke into his flat, and he's only keeping the valuable vase temporarily before donating it to a museum as planned, dismissing Mrs. Hacker's comment as a simple misunderstanding caused by the shock of the fake burglary. His performance is surprisingly convincing. Or perhaps Jenny Goodwin is simply overwhelmed by the sheer audacity of the denials. Seemingly satisfied, she ends the interview. As she leaves, Hacker celebrates his successful evasion with Sir Humphrey and Bernard, preening about his superb performance and the importance of loyalty, having completely abandoned his earlier ethical concerns.